What's going on, everybody? Welcome back if you've been here before. I'm NeonMushroom, and we're going into what looks like for you, round 3 of the Pandemonium Premodern Summer Series Championship, but it's actually round 4 because I have a round 1 bye. We're currently 3-0. The round 1 bye was pretty easy to win, and then our second round we won against Ryan Foley on Machine Head, and then our third round we won against Chris Shavers on, what was he on? Tide Still, the Land Still plus Parallax Tide deck. And today's opponent, oh by the way, we're still playing this deck, I'll show it to you anyway just in case this is your first video. This is going to be Tinker Welder Prison, and the deck, we did some explaining of it in the previous videos, but just in case you can't make sense of what you're looking at, we're going to use the card Goblin Tinker to shuffle stacks pieces like Tangle Wire. We're going to use the card, that's Goblin Welder, not Goblin Tinker. Then we'll use the card Tinker to go get those stacks pieces, and eventually we'll win with like either a combination of Phyrexian Devourer and our Altar of Dementia, or just like a Karn Silver Golem, something like that is how we're going to usually try to win the game. Today's opponent is the first person you actually haven't seen on the channel yet. It's going to be Ryan Gates playing Rec-Sur, our recurring nightmare survival. I think he's referring to the deck as Rock-Sur. When you hear these decks, they are referring to the same thing. You're going to see a lot about how his deck works, but it's right in the name. Recurring Nightmare is going to allow him to trade creatures in play for creatures in the graveyard, and for selection and the ability to do some soft combos and just some really good value plays. The Survival of the Fittest exists in the deck, and he can get stuff like Tempting Worm, Ravenous Bayloth. He's got some surgical like hate pieces like Withered Wretch in the main board, but that's everything you gotta know. So let's hop into round number 4 of the tournament. All right, getting into it here, we're gonna high roll. If memory serves, I think we high roll the same number a bunch of times until Ryan actually makes us switch dice, and if I'm not mistaken, Ryan does end up winning the die roll. I'm not sure what this matchup is supposed to look like. We've only played it this time, and then the other time on Heavy Plays channel, you should check that video out. But I do know that it's going to be quite grindy. We're both interested in going into a pretty late point of the game where our game plans kind of open up and we're able to get away with whatever we want. I will say Ryan has access to green, which is the color of Naturalize, and our deck is mostly just naturalizable targets. That said, the Rec-Sur deck isn't quite like the Rock. He's not playing Pernicious Deed. So cards like Goblin Welder tend to stay in play for a while in this particular matchup. So that's kind of what we're looking for. Looks like I think I'm keeping, and Ryan might be going back to, yeah, this is his second mulligan. So Ryan, unfortunately, going to 5. That said, if Ryan can find a survival and a creature, it's almost like he never mulliganed. He'll be able to buy back all that value immediately. Looks like he finds a 5 that he does like. So he puts 2 on the bottom, and it looks like Ryan is going to be starting with just a basic forest and pass to us. So we'll take a draw step, and then this is powerful. We're going to lead on Ancient Tomb, immediately lose 2 life for a Sphere of Resistance, meaning if Ryan wanted to develop a Survival or a Wall of Roots, he cannot this turn. He plays Forest and passes, because he's got no Birds of Paradise, which I do believe are included in his deck. I'll play a Shivan Reef and just pass back. Notably, I do have a Winter Orb. I'm probably waiting for Ryan to tap out before I expose it, and he does tap out here for the Wall of Roots, so that did slow him down by an entire turn. And with nothing else to do, he passes to me, so I'll take a draw step, and I believe, yep, we're going to lose 2 life here. And we're going to play Winter Orb, which is perfect. Then we're going to play an Ancient Tomb. Our mana base is extremely painful, but if Ryan's kind of locked out, he's not going to be able to pressure us very convincingly. Ryan draws and simply passes back, so I untap 1 Ancient Tomb as my untapped land. Then I play a Gemstone Mine, comes in with 2, because I'm using 1 right away. Tapping for 5, losing 4 life to both of my Ancient Tombs, and we're just playing a Masticore out. If Ryan can't get around this Masticore, it's probably going to win the game very quickly. This is a like top 10% opener for what my deck's trying to do. Ryan simply untaps a land and passes the turn. I believe he has a Nuktabi Orangutan in his hand, and I didn't have the mana to regenerate the Masticore right then, but he's a mana short to cast it, which is really good for us. We'll play City of Traitors, get in for 4. Ryan's not going to block, probably because if he blocks, I'll just put a point of damage on the Wall of Roots with the Masticore, and Ryan's even further behind that mana, which is going to be really bad for him. Ryan takes an untap, draws for turn. In this turn, it feels like he has to do something. Looks like it's going to be a Wall of Roots, which is a great way to play around the Sphere of Resistance. The Winter Orb's still going to make this a little bit difficult for him, but he does have extra blockers in play now, and this Masticore is pressuring. We are going to feed the dog by pitching Crosis' Catacombs, take a little draw for turn, and simply get in for 4. Ryan's going to continue not to block. He knows that he's not in danger of dying just yet. If it gets to that point, he can start blocking, but he probably needs his Wall of Roots around, and he's probably sniffed out that I will absolutely put a point of damage on whichever Wall of Roots blocked my Masticore. Looks like I'm tapping for 3, paying a mana, or a life. For red, we're playing Goblin Welder. This is going to be really, really hard for Ryan to overcome. Now I can start to get out from underneath my own Winter Orb and put a ton of damage on any creature that Ryan actually puts into play. He'll draw for turn. It's a land, which is really good for him here, because he's going to play the Lawnmower Wastes, And then unfortunately, I have an Ancient Tomb up. I think I remember how this play goes. Yep, 1, 2. Then activate both Wall of Roots, putting a counter on, yep, both of them. And 4 mana does spell Uktabi Orangutan. It's Uktabi Orangutan. He's going to target the Masticore, and I think I'm going to drop down to 9 life, pay 2 mana, and regenerate the Masticore. Uktabi Orangutan isn't terminating. It absolutely can be regenerated. So that's, it at least gives him a chump blocker, so that's not nothing. Then after that, Ryan's going to pass to me, so I'll untap 1 Ancient Tomb. My Masticore, I'll feed it with Triskelion. This is a really cool point about Masticore. In this deck, Masticore's discard thing can be an upside instead of a downside. Now we have a Trike in the graveyard with the Resolved Welder, meaning I didn't have to go through the trouble of casting the Triskelion to get it in the bin, which is really good. We're going to send in the Masticore. He blocks with Uktabi Orangutan. And then looks like I'm going to try to pass back. I do. Ryan untaps a black source. He's got access to 3 mana. His hand looks quite weak here. The only thing he could do right now is, I guess, concede. All right, Ryan's conceding, which does make sense. We're kind of in a commanding position. He probably just wants to get going to game number 2. All right, before we go into game 2, we have to talk about sideboarding. Before then, a lot of you might notice that Ryan actually conceded a little bit preemptively. Maybe you're wondering why he did that. He knew what position he was in because we've played this matchup before in this tournament. During round 1, when we both had a bye, we were the people tied for the leaderboard winner. And if you want to see who won that, you can go look at Heavy Play's channel. Here's a link to that video right there. It'll be also either in the pinned comment or the description if you want to look at it after the video. But in order to break the tie, we had to play a match, meaning we already played this matchup, so Ryan knows what the late game looks like once we get to a certain point. And to conserve time, he did just concede. And looking at the way the game played out, I do more or less agree with it. What are we doing for sideboard? We're going to take out 1 Tsabo's Web. It has he has no man lands, no utility lands in his mana base. So all it's doing is cycling with our Welder in order to draw us cards. And we always have the 1 copy in the deck left if we need to tinker for it, but we're taking the extra copy out because it's not actually doing anything outside of drawing us cards. We're also going to lose a Smokestack because Ryan's going to go much wider than us very quickly. So Smokestack, there will be some situations where I want to have 1 in my deck to tinker for it, but I don't really want to draw it naturally because it's usually going to be me who gets punished the most for having to sacrifice extra permanents. What we're bringing in is 1 Powder Keg. Powder Keg on 1 can be pretty good. Powder Keg on 2 against Ryan's deck can be very good because of the combination of Wall of Roots, but also the Withered Wretch who can mess with our graveyard. So that's going to be quite good as well. And then a Phyrexian Furnace because it's graveyard hate into a graveyard-centric deck that wants to use cards like Squee, Goblin, Nabob in order to just make infinite creatures. So that's how we sideboarded. Let's get into game number 2. All right, hopping into game 2. Ryan's probably going to be on the play. It'd be weird if he decided to take the draw. And let's hope we can both maybe keep 7-card hands. That would be pretty ideal. I know you can't see mine, but I have Sphere of Resistance. I think I'll take this hand if there's a Soul Land. We've got a Welder, a Sphere of Resistance, a Red Source, and a Soul Land. There's no way we're mulliganing this. And Ryan says keep as well, so we're going to get started right off the bat. A lot more wastes. Pay a life for a black Cabal Therapy. I remember what he names it is going to be Goblin Tinkerer or Goblin Welder. And as I just told you, there's a Welder in my hand, so he does hit, which is quite good for him. This means our only turn 1 play is Sphere, but we'd have to open on City of Traitors, which would not be ideal. We pick up a Tinkerer's or draw for turn, and I imagine we're just going to kind of play the Shivan Reef out and pass. That's exactly what we do. Ryan takes a draw. He plays a second Lawnmower Waste, kind of a painful mana base, but that'll be fine because I think he's about to cast a Wall of Roots that I saw in his hand. That's exactly what he does. Notably, he hasn't cast a single Survival yet in these games, so that's got to be kind of tough. We're going to play our City of Traitors, tap it for 2, and we're going to play Mind Stone, and then we do have a Sphere, so yep, we'll tap the Mind Stone plus the Shivan Reef to play Sphere of Resistance in an attempt to slow the game down even more. Ryan takes a draw step. He does draw Withered Wretch, which I believe he drew a Tinkerer or a Welder last turn, so that's pretty good. He's going to develop a second Wall of Roots, and this means on his following turn, he'll be able to do something like Withered Wretch plus Naturalize if he wants to. No, he won't. There's just Sphere of Resistance, so I take that back. Sphere is really good here. I'm going to play the Welder. And Ryan's, there's no audio from this. I mean, I have it, but I'm not going to clunk up the video. But Ryan's like, of course, you drew it right after I therapied the one in your hand, which is a bummer for him. We're just going to pass the turn. And then Ryan's going to, he does find his land drop. So 5 land's actually not bad here. He can like Duress plus Naturalize if he wanted to. He taps for 3, losing, it looks like 2 life to both those Lawnmower Waste because he's playing a Withered Wretch. That he probably did that because he said, oh, look, there's a Welder. I need to get out from under this Welder before he can start activating it, which makes good sense to me. I'm going to take a draw for turn. I'm going to activate Mind Stone for 1 mana, then 2, 3, 4. That's 4 mana total. Losing a life, and the only thing that would cause me to lose life is Reef, so it's got to be Tinker, right? Yep, that's a Tinker. We're going to Tinker away our Mind Stone. I imagine the card we're supposed to get here is Trike, and that's exactly what we do. Trike lets us take out the Withered Wretch and start to actually use our Welder. with the Wither Wretch in play, the Welder's just going to be like completely shut out because he's got those Wall of Roots that can make mana. So I'm going to shoot it for a point of damage. Looks like Ryan's going to respond by adding a counter to one of his Wall of Roots, and he's going to try to exile the Mind Stone in my graveyard. I do have a response to this because, yeah, he's holding it in play still. I'm going to take off another counter. Looks like I want to tag it with the last point of damage to actually kill the Withered Wretch in response. And then what else am I going to do? I imagine I might try to get this Mind Stone response to get him to use his other Wall of Roots to have to re-exile it again. But we're just kind of shortcutting this. Yeah, I'm going to sacrifice the Triskelion after tagging him with an additional point of damage and then getting back my Mind Stone. So there was a point where Ryan could have exiled the Mind Stone. He probably wants to conserve the toughnesses of his Wall of Roots if I had to take a guess though. So we played a Rishadan Port. So in Ryan's turn, we're tapping down the Lawnmower Wastes, prisoning him out pretty convincingly. And then does he have a play here? He does have a Naturalize in his hand. That's not nothing. He'll tap for 1-2. And then looks like he's losing a life because he wants to Duress me. Duress is kind of a double-edged sword in this matchup. Looks like his only target's going to be this Ensnaring Bridge. And by putting it in the graveyard, I can now just like put it into play with Welder. Duress is kind of weird in this matchup. You really just want to be hitting Tinker with it if there's a Resolve Welder in play. I draw, I play another City of Traitors and show him a Tinker in my hand, and he decides to pick it up. He doesn't think he can beat another Tinker, and I agree. We're kind of getting to the late point of the tournament. We got one more round to go. He might want to conserve his energy. He might just want to not play that matchup again. He already had to play it earlier today, but over the course of that game, we were highly likely. I don't know how we're actually supposed to lose that game from there. So good game to Ryan Gates. For those of you who have been paying attention for the whole series, you'll know that I am currently 4-0, and this is 5 rounds of Swiss before we make the cut, meaning that I am locked into the top 8. So we will be following, and we're cutting to top 4 for this event, I believe, just for time constraint purposes. But you will be following however far I make it into the top 4. You'll be following me. I'm not going to spoil, there's some other players you know that also made the top 4 cut, which I'm really excited about. But we've got one more Swiss round, which is next round, and that's going to be against, I'll spoil the name, it's Michael Atkinson, and he's playing a deck you haven't seen on this channel, so make sure to tune into that when I upload that video, which will be very shortly. And I'll also look forward to a little collaboration me and Andrew from Heavy Play did outside of the video that I sent him that you guys should go watch right now because it's up at the time of posting this video. Which was the exhibition match between me and Ryan Gates to see who won the leaderboard trophy. But that's all I have for you guys today. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will see you next time.